What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about AMD and NVIDIA in this video. Hater side requested AMD, and I am just throwing NVIDIA out there because I feel like it makes sense to throw them together. NVIDIA is a top dog. AMD's been doing like relatively well for itself. Anyways, let's get going. From a high point to a low point. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. You did hit your 1272. You're pulling back, and you are below your 886, which is not normally the thing that you do. Normally you hold your 886. So let's see how tomorrow closes. If you can close above $145 tomorrow, then potentially this is it, right? This could be it, and then you're moving higher. But if you close here or lower, right, you might be going down to about 130, maybe even all the way down to $108 itself. That's very possible, just from this look alone. I don't like the weekly RSI. I'm not a fan of the daily RSI, but again, if you have a little bit of a reversal tomorrow and you can close not even $10 higher than where you are now, I have some hopes. With the way that it looks, though, I have to say I do think you're going to move down to about 131 to potentially $103, potentially down there. Yes, I don't think you go below 103. Let's see, high to low here. I wouldn't think you go below 103. You might not even actually interact with that. So probably I would say 112 to 117 might be the likely areas, unless you hold this 130 area itself. You're very close to that. You could hold that. It's a very likely area to hold, but time will tell. Time will tell. Yeah. Very confident that you would at least see 131, 130, something like that, if not lower. So that's AMD. Will it see new all-time highs? I hope it does. I would assume it does, but maybe it doesn't. I don't know. I think that's decent volume. It's moving down with decreasing volume. It moved up with increasing volume. If it does move up higher, maybe not by the end of this year, but sometime next year, early next year in the first half, maybe right around the half of next year, you could see prices around 260 to 325. Those are your next target areas once you're done moving down. So that's AMD. NVIDIA, man, is crazy. I was actually talking to my grandfather about it today. I was saying this could be the low. It depends on a couple things, but it could be the low. The daily RSI does look not that good, to be completely fair. It would suggest that you're going lower. I like that you have a kind of neutral. They call that a Darth Maul candle, right? Because you got the lightsabers. If you've ever seen Star Wars, Darth Maul, right? Got the two-sided lightsabers. Two-sided lightsaber, just one, not two. From a relative low to a relative high, you have gone right below your 382 and you closed above it. That is a nice look. That's actually a very common maneuver when working your way up, right? When you establish your low right below the 382, but you close above it like this, as long as you're closing above $111, this really could serve as your low. That doesn't mean that you're absolved of going lower. You can go tomorrow, you could go below 111, but as long as you're closing above it, that stands to be your low. If it is your low, from a high point to a low point, we could talk about, I don't know what happened there. From a high point to a low point, we could talk about prices probably around 167, maybe even above 200. Absolutely on the table over, on your next move. That doesn't mean it's going to happen tomorrow or the next day, but just throughout the period of time that it takes to get to your next move, probably by the end of this year. If it's not your low and you move lower, perhaps you move down to about $96, $91, something like that could be on the table. It's to be expected, right? It wouldn't be too crazy. It wouldn't be bad. And NVIDIA's been doing great. Everything needs a break at some point. You do have this bearish divergence on your weekly where you have lower highs here while maintaining higher highs on your price. So moving down to where that divergence formed, which is at about, technically it's at $94.30. That fits your golden ratio range here, right? The golden ratio itself is at the 618 at 95.87 and then 91.67. That's your range. So it would make sense to pull back to this closing weekly high. But again, as long as you're holding above 111 on any given multi-day period, or especially a weekly period, if you're closing above there, I think it's good. But if tomorrow we happen to close below 111, well, then you know where we're going. A little bit lower and then higher. I do believe NVIDIA has more to go. I do believe it has more to grow. From this high to low perspective, I mean, I see no reason why you couldn't see prices above 150, above 200, maybe even beyond that. Like, it really could see prices a lot higher, you guys. I don't think it's done by any means, but it might just be taking a break for the time being. But we'll know if that breaks over. Isn't that crazy? 111 showing up again on a different fib here. Oh, it's not the fib, it's the 200. The fib technically that it showed up on was this from this high to low. You got your, or was it not that fib? Maybe it was this low to high. It was the 382, right? Yes. Kind of interesting. The 200 is technically not a fib, but it is an area of significance sometimes, right? Anyways, that's all I got. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more. Bye-bye.